Lulu's staring at me right now because I just did a little vlog clip of a parcel that I picked up. I ordered a bunch of books. I had posted a video not too long ago talking about wanting to experiment with the way I read books this year, and one of the things that I wanted to try was to reread some of my favorite books in the personal growth space. So I bought a bunch of my favorites, and I'm hoping that having them at home and on my shelves will give me a little spark of inspiration. I can reread them if I want to, or I can just have them on hand in case I want to reference something. So we shall see how this experiment goes. I started with the 12 books that I have on my website as my favorites, and I already have 2 of the 12. I have The Artist's Way, and I also have The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I decided not to buy all 10 at once. Once I go through these, I will then go ahead and order more. But for now, I thought this was a really nice selection. There is one book that was off list, and I'll show you that one. It'll be pretty obvious which one it is. Just want to be careful because Lulu is so curious whenever I get a parcel. She must see what is inside. Oh. I'll just let her sniff. The first book is Atomic Habits. I love this book so much, and I really love James Clear. I'm just gonna go in order in terms of the books, the way they're stacked in the box. The next one is this one, The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. This is also an awesome book that I've only read once, and the reason I wanted to purchase this, not only is it a fantastic book, but there are self-reflection exercises in here, and the first time I read this book, I did not do the self-reflection exercises. I only read the copy, and I want to go back and potentially do the self-reflection exercises in a bullet journal. The next book, another favorite. I'm just so happy to see. This was such a good decision. Most of you probably know that I am very reluctant to buy anything new or to bring anything into my home. I used to have a pretty severe shopping habit, and the whole decluttering process was very painful for me. So I really am resistant to buying new things now, but this was such a good decision because every single book that I'm seeing, the cover, it just makes me feel so good because I know already that it's a book that I love. And this is one of those books, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I have 2 book recommendations on finances, and this is definitely one of them. Next we have Essentialism. This book is very close to my heart because this is one of the first personal growth books that I read after I left my full-time job. I also love the way it's laid out. There are just some like interesting formatting choices and things. As I flip through, you don't really see them that much, but I really love this book. Second book on finance that I would highly recommend is Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin. And this book has some stuff on it, so I'm gonna need to wipe that down. It's got some gunk on the side. This is essentially about financial independence, and there is a movement out there called FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early. And I actually learned about this movement after I left my full-time job. So I wasn't planning to do FIRE or anything like that, but because my thought patterns around money and my habits around money are, I would say, fairly in line with the FIRE movement, I ended up essentially doing that even though I didn't know what it was called and I wasn't as diligent about it. I read this before The Psychology of Money, and it really aligns with where I ended up in terms of my own belief system about money. So when I read this book, I felt like I wasn't alone. Ooh. The Untethered Soul. I don't think I've said this before out loud, but if I were to describe my book in terms of relating it to other books out in the world, I would say it's The Artist's Way meets The Untethered Soul. I love this book so much, and I've actually never read this book in terms of the text. I've listened to it via audiobook and it gave me chills. I often don't pay attention to audiobooks because I find the narration a bit monotone and I tend to tune out a lot. But with this one, it really captured my attention and it got me thinking a lot about many different things. So I'm really eager to read the text and just let those words sink in. Interestingly enough, those were the favorite books that I purchased, and the extra one that I talked about at the beginning is the last book in the stack. That is this book here, the prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. I am very excited to read this, even though I heard mixed things about it, but I loved the Hunger Games trilogy, and what I heard about this was at my book club. The person who read this book said she was expecting more from it, and she also wasn't expecting it to be so dark, and I really love dark. So what she said intrigued me, and I thought, I have to read this book. And the reason I bought a physical copy, even though I've never read it, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, is because I did keep the Hunger Games trilogy. I have it on my bookshelf and I loved the series so much, I plan to reread it. I don't know if I should read the trilogy before. I don't think so. I think I'm pretty familiar with the story because I've read the trilogy, I think at least twice, and I've also watched the movies at least twice each. I think I'm gonna bring this book to Cuba. I have officially finished the 5,000 piece puzzle. I actually stayed up late to finish it yesterday, and I'm so glad I'm done. The puzzle was a lot of fun. I enjoyed working on it, but it was really long. It took me over a month to complete, and that was with working on it pretty much every day. I think there were only 1 or 2 days that I didn't work on it at all, and a few days where I worked on it maybe for a little bit less time, maybe like an hour or so throughout the course of a day. But most nights I worked on it for probably around 4 hours on average. But last night, because I only had a few pieces remaining, I thought I would just power through it, and I ended up working on it for around 5 to 6 hours. My goal was to be done before our trip so I could put it away. We usually use this area in our condo to put our luggages and just slowly pack for our trips. So this is taking up a lot of real estate in our tiny home. It worked out really well that I finished technically yesterday because I popped in the last piece at 11:58 p.m. because today is the eve of Lunar New Year and it is hubby's birthday. So I knew we had a lot of festivities and fun things coming up and I wouldn't have as much time for the puzzle. So it was perfect timing that I got it done. This puzzle is making me rethink whether I want to do the 9,000 piece puzzle, whether it actually needs to be on my bucket list. I know that right now I'm in kind of like a I'm over puzzles mood, so I'm gonna wait a while to see if that dissipates. But right now I'm thinking, I don't need to do that 9,000 piece puzzle. That's going to take at least double the time that it took for me to do this puzzle. And this puzzle took me over a month. So that is a long time, a lot of hours to be dedicated to puzzling. There are other things I want to be doing, including creative projects and other leisure activities like reading and watching movies or TV shows. So I don't know if a 9,000 piece puzzle is something that I'm willing to do anymore. I would be very content with just doing 1,000 piece puzzles from here on out. I'll give it some thought, but right now I'm leaning towards letting that puzzle go, maybe potentially trying to sell it. Hubby and I sold pretty much the rest of our DVDs. We ended up posting a couple of box sets plus like a mystery bag, a huge bag filled with many DVDs. And the person who contacted hubby was interested in buying all of it. So they worked out a really good price. It was a good price for the person who purchased everything. And it was definitely a reasonable price for us because we were going to donate these DVDs. And we just came up with the idea spur of the moment to see if anyone was interested in buying them before we donated them. Hubby actually ended up selling 2 additional box sets as well since the buyer was interested in whether we had anything else that we wanted to sell. So we let go of 4 box sets plus the rest of our DVDs. I think there were probably I don't know, at least 50 or 60 DVDs in that huge bag, the mystery bag. Now that I'm done the puzzle, I've taken a bunch of photos with it. I'm going to put it away. I'm going to put it back in the box. And this puzzle was interesting because there were two places in this puzzle where the pieces didn't seem to look like they matched the surrounding picture. So it tricked me once when I was doing the border, because there was a section where I was like, this is totally off. Sometimes with puzzles, pieces fit, but they actually belong somewhere else. So I checked the entire border, went over it meticulously. I couldn't find anything else that was in like the wrong spot. So I decided just to continue with the puzzle to see if I would run into any issues with the border sections, and everything was fine. So I think it was just something to do with the image when it was printed. It either printed incorrectly or the image had something off with it anyway. And then towards the end of the puzzle, I could have sworn that I was missing a piece because I couldn't find certain pieces for this top part. But then all of the pieces fit, and this top part, it just looks completely wrong. The colors didn't line up, the image didn't line up. I was like, this is not correct at all. So I was telling hubby, and he picked up the box and looked at the image, and I actually don't refer to the image when I'm doing the puzzle. Part of the fun for me is finding out where pieces go organically as I'm putting the puzzle together. So I never look at the image. I was actually using the top of the box to hold the pieces because there were so many pieces that I had to like separate them into these two boxes, as well as our two trays, as well as a big piece of foam core. So hubby referenced the box, and the part of the picture that looked completely off was this part here. So we couldn't even check it because it's covered with the image of a puzzle piece. I'm gonna try to lift it from one side instead of from the top because this puzzle is too wide lengthwise for me to hold both the corners. So let's see how this goes. Actually, it's not too bad. Some of the pieces are falling out, but look. Ah! Yay! I don't know if you can see, I can kind of see through the holes in this puzzle. That is very exciting. I'm going to place it down gently so the pieces don't scatter. Lulu's very interested. Oh my gosh. A month of work reduced to this messy pile on the ground. But this puzzle stayed together very well. These puzzles are very good quality aside from the image issue that I was talking about, but I'm really happy that it held together because I love lifting the puzzle. All right, I'm gonna put it all away now. I included a lot of clips of food in this vlog. We had 3 really good dinners pretty much all in a row. The second Lunar New Year dinner was a collaboration between the Soy Luck Club and Kiin. It was fantastic. There was so much food. We got a couple of parting gifts from that dinner, which was also really lovely. We got these kind of like lucky money style envelopes. So hubby chose the blue one and I chose this orange one, and inside are a few little candies. We've got a couple of typical Chinese candies for the new year, and we also have these candies from Thailand, and I'm really eager to try them. The Thai candies are toddy palm sugar candies, and they're supposed to be really, really good. We also got these fun drums. So we each selected one, and they look exactly the same pretty much, but they sound different. So hubby's sounds a lot nicer than mine. This one's mine. I guess, actually they sound pretty good together. And now that I'm listening to this instrument again, it doesn't sound as bad as it did that night. I was like, oh, I got a dud. But actually, I do like that they sound different. February flew by in a flash. I honestly don't know where the time went. We went out a lot, and I think more often than we have since the pandemic. In the past 3 years, even though we have started going out again, it wasn't at that frequency and at that intensity. And plus we had our trip to Cuba very soon after all of the clips that you just watched. I am back now as I'm recording this portion of the vlog, and I haven't even touched the clips from Cuba yet. I didn't actually do a lot of vlogging when I was in Cuba. I took a lot of clips, but I didn't talk to the camera much. So I think this vlog is going to be a little bit different, and I'm still thinking through how I want to edit that video. But I have the backdrop up today because I'm catching up on my main channel videos. We're rolling into March, which means that spring is near in the Northern Hemisphere, and I wanted to mention I am doing the deep cleaning challenge this year. I didn't make it back in time to do a 30 days to spring challenge, so I'm going to be doing a 3 weeks or a 21 day to spring challenge this year. This time around, I put my cleaning plan on my website, so I will leave that link down below so you can see what tasks I plan to do on each day. In case you want to follow along, clean similar places in your home, or just send me some like good luck vibes as I'm embarking on this challenge. I'm not going to do shorts for this challenge simply because I'm in catch-up mode right now. I am going to film clips though, and I'll compile them into a long form video, which is my happy place anyway. So that vlog will probably be coming sometime in March, maybe towards the end of March. And I'll be back with my Cuba vlog, hopefully in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!